Hey there, it's Jonathan. Thanks for coming back and watching another episode of this show. I don't know what to call this show yet, so if you have any ideas, I would greatly appreciate it. I have a complete brain fart going on as to what I call this thing. But I do know what I'm doing. I am providing the information that you need to help your family. And I want to tackle something today that's it's a really difficult topic, but I deal with it all the time in my counseling sessions. And it's when a parent comes to me and they say, what do I do when my ex-spouse is a bad parent? And I really feel for them, because those are very difficult situations, because you have very little control over what you can do when it comes to your ex's home and your ex's parenting style. And I really see it as a mistake and a trap when parents put all this energy in trying to change their ex, especially around parenting. I mean, think about it this way. If you weren't able to change them, and if they weren't able to change while you were married, how do you think you're going to get them to change when you're divorced? It's really a situation where you have to focus on what you can control. And what you control is what happens inside of your home. Now, I know these situations are tough. There was this one mom that I worked with, and her story's like so many other parents that I've worked with around this. And her deal was, her husband was a complete scumbag. I don't know any other way of saying it. Not too nice, but that's the truth, okay? This guy was like a full-blown narcissist. He lied, he cheated, as in affairs, and he stole from them. He put them in complete bankruptcy. I mean, he just completely tanked this family to the point of this mom having to divorce for her own sanity and for the sake of saving her children. It was just a horrible situation. And as you can imagine, when he moved into his own place and had shared parenting, he didn't get any better. If anything, it was worse. He was more open with his behavior in the way that he parented in a bad way in this other home. So she had to live with the reality of she legally had to let her kids spend time with her ex, who had no rules. He didn't make them do homework. He didn't make them do chores. He didn't monitor them in any kind of way. Just let them play games, whatever they wanted, whatever would keep them happy. That's what he did, which is horrible parenting. And not only that, he would throw her under the bus. He would say, you know, your mother's the reason why we got divorced. I wanted to stay married, but your mother divorced. She's the reason that this all happened. It's all her fault. And your mother doesn't care about you like I do, because I'm the one that lets you have all this fun, and she's all mean and strict, and she doesn't care about you kids like I care about you. He was filling their head with that kind of crap, and it was driving this mom crazy. And I understand why, because it was completely wrong, it was horrible, it was bad for her kids, and there was nothing she could do about it, or at least that's what she thought. But there was something she could do. She could stop focusing on what she could not control, which was what was going on in her ex's house and how he was parenting, and start focusing on what she could control, which was what was going on in her house and how she was parenting. See, she was starting to lose herself. She was parenting out of reaction to what her ex was doing. And she wasn't focused on what was best for her kids all the time. She was focused more on how not to be the bad parent and how to compensate for his bad behavior. And what I helped her do was to focus on the good parent that she was, and to stay consistent with that, and trust that over time, because over time, the truth does show itself. Even though that other home might be fun for a while, it starts to become more and more unhealthy, because your kids aren't getting what they need. And ultimately, they're going to love you because you gave them what they needed, even when that's not what they wanted in the moment. But when they look back, they're going to see the parent that loved them and took care of what was most important, and that is you. And that is why you're not going to give up. And that's why you're not going to focus on what's going on in that other home as much as you're going to focus on what you do control. So when it comes to your kids in your home, you got to focus on the big areas of parenting. You got to make sure that you're nurturing them, that you're showing them affirmation and love and care, and that you're building them up emotionally. And then you got to make sure that you have rules, and that you have guidance, and you have consistency, and that you have a solid structure that makes them do what they need to do, and that they learn from that. And then you need to direct them. When they are struggling with something, they need your guidance. They need your help. They need you to teach them how to grow up. And you keep doing those things, and you're going to win. Don't sweat the small stuff. Every parent makes mistakes. There are moments when we all blow it. Focus on the big stuff, and you're going to get it right. And your kids are going to see how much you love them. All right, there's one more point that I want to make, and it's about putting kids in the middle. Now, you always hear about don't put the kids in the middle. Well, I'm telling you, that's impossible to do completely. They're always going to be put in the middle a little bit, but when you see them in the middle, you pull them out of that. You don't make them choose between when they're going to go see the other parent or how they're going to handle a certain situation, and you certainly don't bad mouth the other parent to them, because that's their parent. They love their parent, they care about their parent, and you're not helping them out. You're putting them in a very difficult emotional situation when you're bad mouthing the parent, and that's hard to do when you know they're doing that to you. But here's what you can do. You can talk with them about the differences. You can talk with them about what's different in your home and why it's the way it is. You can tell them the story about why you care so much about them and why you're going to do what's best for them, and that's why they need to do their homework, and that's why they need to do chores, and that's why they need to have restraint, and that's why they have to learn these new skills. You explain to them what's happening and why that might be different from the other home, but you don't badmouth the parent, because that's not going to go anywhere. You say, in our home, in my home, in this home, this is how we do things, because that's what's best for you here. And you keep it on your side, which is what you control, and you stay consistent. It's going to pay off. Okay, I hope that helped you out. I know those are some very difficult situations to deal with, but don't quit. It's worth it. You can do this. And if you need some more resources, sign up for my email list on jonathanleague.com, or like my Facebook page, or subscribe to my YouTube channel. Every time I come up with a new resource or a new video, you'll be the first one to know about it. I know these are tough situations, but your family needs you. Don't give up.